On the original instrument, if you wanted pitch or filter modulation, you'd have to give up oscillator 3 and turn it into an LFO. Now to do this, you'd set the mod mix knob hard left and make sure oscillator 3 was selected via this button. That selected VCO3 as a modulation source, and from there you determine if you wanted pitch as a destination, filter as a destination, or both via the red switches here and here. In this case, we're just going to select pitch mod. Then you'd set VCO3 to low, select the waveform, in this case a triangle wave, turn VCO3 control switch to off, and then turn up the mod wheel. Now here's our triangle wave on VCO3 modulating the pitch of VCO1, the rate of which would then be set by the VCO3 tune knob. In VCO3 we could also change the LFO waveform. Here's saw down, saw up, square, pulse, and narrow pulse. Now this method worked great, but obviously it meant that you lost the ability to have all 3 VCOs playing at once. Instead, you could only have VCOs 1 and 2 at max. Let's just add VCO2 and detune it a little for some extra fatness. Now that's great, but with Minimonsta2 there is no need to sacrifice VCO3 because we've provided another LFO option. Let's briefly return our mod wheel to 0, then take VCO3 out of LFO mode and set it up as another oscillator with a sawtooth waveform as per VCOs 1 and 2, a range of 8 foot, and reset that pitch to 0. Then we turn it on in the mixer section and tune it slightly sharp in contrast to VCO2's being slightly flat. To end up with our classic Mini 3 oscillator fatness. To add pitch modulation via our new method, the first thing we do is make sure our red pitch mod switch is on. Then head to these buttons under the mod mix knob and click on this LFO button. Then turn the mod mix hard right, turn up the mod wheel and hear the result. The modulation rate is taken care of via this LFO rate knob, and we can have this completely unsynchronized or synchronized to the host via this button here. Additionally, via this switch we can select between a triangle or square wave. Now there's one final thing we can do, which is great when it comes to a performance, and that is to have modulation introduced when using aftertouch. To do that, let's return our mod wheel to 0 again, and in the aftertouch section, right click and select mod. Then turn the adjacent knob up a little and play with a degree of aftertouch. We can also increase the modulation rate via aftertouch, and this is done by selecting LFO and again turning the adjacent knob up. And using this method you get all the power of 3 VCOs and introduce a degree of expression into your performance via aftertouch.